Well, today is not just National Oatmeal Cookie Day, it's actually International Jazz Day. So we've asked George Scott to come in and tell us all about the historical Colored Musicians Club. Hi, George. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me today.
I want to start off by talking about the Colored Musicians Club, and can you give us a little bit of history about it and how long it's been a part of our community?
Sure. Well, the club was first formed by the local union, 533, which was a black union. And that started back in 1917, primarily because of segregation. So for 18 years, they kind of drifted around within that community. Then finally, in 1934, they would acquire the building. And then a year later, 1935, on July the 25th, they would then form what we know today as the Colored Musicians Club.
Very cool. Now, there's some construction going on with the building and some renovations. Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. Well, if you've ever been into the club, you know those 20 steps, I like to say, to heaven. But they're steep, and when you start getting older and you got bad knees, that's rough. So what we did, we put an addition on the back of the building with an elevator. So you'll be able to come up there better. Handicap, you can get up there better, and you get to see the live music on the second floor.
Very nice. When is that supposed to reopen?
Hopefully, we're looking at the middle of September.
Okay, exciting. Now let's talk about the meaning behind the new name, the Historic Colored Musicians Club.
Well, for years, when we came out with the word colored, you know, some people kind of was back by it or, you know, kind of uncomfortable, this, that, and the other. So the reason why we put historic in front of it is to let them know that back in the early years, legally, we had to say we were colored. So it wasn't like we just say, hey, let's call ourselves the Colored Music. We had no choice. That was the law. Mm-hmm. So by putting historic, we're just stating that this is how it was, but we want people to remember that or know that.
Now, we have something exciting coming up. Let's talk about the 20th annual Queen City Jazz Fest.
Yes, yes. It's a tradition that goes back to the very beginning. You know, we used to bring in major acts into Buffalo because we wanted to give back to the community. Mm-hmm. So 20 years ago, myself and my vice president, Mr. Danny Williams at the time, we decided, hey, let's have a big festival and bring in some acts. And that's how it started. And the first one wasn't called the Queen City. We just did it like last minute type of thing. Mm-hmm. But the following year, we officially called it the Queen City Jazz Festival, and it's been going that way ever since. Okay,
what can we expect to see?
Well, we're going to have some great artists. Adam Hawkley, who's a guitar player. We got Shamel Thurman and her husband, Daryl Green, and his quartet. And then we have Javon, I always mess up his first name, Javon Jackson. He's a saxophone player as well. And then we have local artists, Wade and Kenny Hawkins and the All-Star Band. Now, just to give you a little insight on those two brothers, their aunt was a famous musician. She used to sing at the Anchor Bar on Friday nights. Dodo Green was their aunt.
Oh, wow.
So they come from royalty, musical royalty.
Musical royalty.
Not to mention they was the background sound to Rick James. So they have their own little history.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
When and where is this happening?
This will be in front of the Buffalo Library. That's 1 Lafayette Square. Mm-hmm. And we go from 1 till 9 p.m.
On what day?
It will be on a Saturday.
Okay. Now, how can people get tickets?
It's free. It's free.
It's free?
You just show up, and we'll have food vendors there. We'll be selling these nice shirts, mm-hmm. and, you know, it's just a great time.
Now, obviously, you've been involved with the Colored Musicians Club for at least 20 years. What initially drew you to them?
Well, as a youngster, I came there, they taught me how to play, and I just fell in love with the jazz music, the big band sound, and everything else, and I just was hooked, and I stayed there. And then as a lot of these guys were dying off, I thought, well, I need to stay here to keep it going, mm-hmm. and so that's what kept me there.
And that's what you've done. So thank you so much for coming in, George, and telling us all about all that you do. And viewers, if you would like to learn more about the club, you can visit their website at thecoloredmusiciansclub.com and be sure to stop by Lafayette Square on July 27th for the Queen City Jazz Fest. Thanks again for coming in, George.
Thank you.